East, they still got shepherds, and sheep are blind. They're like totally blind, you know. And so when God talks and shares that, and until you go and experience, wow, that sheep really is blind, you know, and it really does need a shepherd, and it really does, you know, need all these things. You can go see those things, and people can relate to them 2,000 years after the Bible, after Jesus came, to the message that he was writing and or he was proclaiming.
No more.
Nixon heat.
He has peanut butter boxers.
Hey, go put him in this kennel with you.
Whoa, bro.
Bro. Okay, this is where this train gets off.
We're not in circumcision.
So I just want to kind of talk to you guys about I guess relationships and how you treat other people. It's gonna be women, it's gonna be men. However, and I want to relate it to, you know, something that's kind of timeless, you know. So this is an AR-15. It's America's choice for warfare. It's our favorite weapon of choice. The reason they choose this is, a lot of people don't know, is it's more of a humane reason than not. Because when our country goes to war, their goal is to win the war, but not to decimate the enemy, which is kind of not the way the Bible was. A lot of the Old Testament, God wanted to decimate the enemy completely, but when Jesus came, he fulfilled a lot of those old laws and old edicts. And so, you know, we as Christians are supposed to love the world, you know, not love what the world stands for, but love the people in the world. And so this weapon is actually designed out of, you know, someone that has a consciousness for, hey, we're not trying to kill everybody, we're trying to win the war. You know, we're trying to win the battle. So I'm going to show you a few things about ammo that you guys may not know. All right, this is a 223. It will also shoot 5.56. 5.56 is a NATO round. It's what they use in Europe. And it's a little bit more gunpowder and a little bit slightly heavier of a bullet. So this is a common round that they would use in the military. And this is a 5.56 full metal jacket. Okay? Let me pass that around. And what that is that's a copper lead bullet. This little thing at the top, that's the bullet right there. Okay? The thing at the bottom, that's the cartridge. Okay? This is not a bullet. Okay? This is basically a cartridge. Okay? Bullets at the tip, bullets what comes out. There's gunpowder in the tip where it has that little dimple on it. There's what's a primer in there. And when you hit that little round thing on the end with the firing pin in there, you pull the trigger, it shoots a little pin and hits this little round thing on the end. And you guys, when you're kids, you had those cap guns, and you pull it, and exact same thing, except it's in that little package right there. And then this thing's loaded with gunpowder. And so as that gunpowder ignites, it builds up pressure in this cartridge, and it shoots that bullet out the end of it. Okay? Now, modern day firearms use a bullet that's shaped like that, like a cone. Earlier firearms was just a ball. You know, it's called ball ammo. But now we have rifling in our barrel that turns it. The bullet's aerodynamic, and it flies out and gets aerodynamic. A lot of these bullets, when they come out of the gun, they're actually doing this. But as they spin and they gain clearance, they get straighter and straighter. So your bullet might do this, but then it straightens up. Okay? So This is standard for the military, and the reason they use these is because they're trying not to kill everybody. Okay, and in warfare, and this is, you know, when you go to war with another country, you said they want to win the battle, but they don't want to decimate the population. You know, they want people to be wounded, and you know, it's actually more effective because then they have to take care of them. You know, one wounded guy, a dead guy on the battlefield, they leave him there and get him later. You know, a wounded guy, you got 3 people that got to go out and pull him up and take him away. So they do think about this. Our country's not as inhumane as some people may say it is. Now this is penetrator ammo. So that's a 55 grain bullet. This is a 62 grain bullet. But this has a solid core. So this isn't a lead core, this is a solid copper bullet. Okay? That will penetrate a lot of body armor. Okay? So you hear about all these things in the news and stuff like what's going on, you know, oh, that's armor piercing ammo. Well, it's not armor piercing. It will pierce some lightweight body armor, but it doesn't pierce the stuff that the military guys wear or the stuff that the police wear. And this is readily available everywhere. So when you hear somebody say, oh, they got cop killing bullets, these are not cop killing bullets. They're going to do a little bit more damage, but they're solid. They'll go through walls a little bit better. They'll go through doors a little bit better. They'll go through a masonry block wall because they have a little heavier thing. And they're green pointed. So any penetrating ammo for this gun is going to be green pointed.
It's like a crayon.
Yeah, like a crown.
A little more lethal.
It's a man crayon.
If you put a crayon in the gun, it works just as well.
It's more humane.
Dispensing art supplies and formations.
Now these are fun. I'm not going to open one of these up, but they're, I don't think the box will open without it being unsealed. But this is tactical tracer ammo. This will have a red tip on it, and it's got magnesium on it, so as it goes out of the gun, it makes a spark. So you ever see those old war movies where you see like, every like, you know, you'll see them shooting the machine gun, and every once in a while you see it like tracer ammo. And that's for when they're just spraying and praying, you know, because you can actually see like one out of every one. They'll load these like 1 out of every 5 bullets. So as they're like that, every once in a while they'll see exactly where that bullet's going down range. So it's not as popular now, but they still have them, and they're really cool to see at night. Shoot at night, they make like this red beam, like a laser beam going out of the end of the gun. So it's kind of cool.
What kind of bullets do they use in the movie theater? The movies, like
in the movies,
yeah. 'Cause I mean,
computers.
oh,
They use computers.
I thought it was fake, like
Yeah, they use blanks.
rubber or
They
blanks.
use the blanks, but blanks still shoot a wad out. A lot of them don't even use blanks now. They do all that with CGI. So they make all the noise, and because they've had accidents. You know, I think an actor not too long ago,
Bruce Lee's son.
like
These kids
shot, like was joking around and shot, you know, pulled the trigger on a blank, and a blank will still shoot out like 2 feet, and so it like messed him up in the head, and he was like mentally screwed up because he was playing around with a gun.
I think it killed him. I think it ended up killing him.
Yeah,
shortly.
mine ended up killing him. So, right. So, and then you have hollow point ammo, and this is designed for hunting. So that bullet has a hole in it, in the tip of it, and so when that hits whatever the target it's hitting, that bullet will open up like this and create a mushroom. Okay, and that mushroom does a lot more impact. A lot of times, it's not the bullet going through you; it's the shock wave that it creates as it goes through you is what damages a lot of tissue. So the bullet hole through you may only be that big, but the tissue damage around it is like that big. Even though the tissue's intact, it's supersonic as it goes through you. So you basically have a shock wave of energy that's dissipated as it goes in you. All right. So.
Is there little shards that separate?
This one, no. This one more mushrooms. Now,
When you say mushroom, does it like peel back and just like?
peels back on all sides.
Okay.
Okay. Now, this is the ultimate ammo right here.
Gotcha.
This is the zombie killing one. Okay. You ever seen those things on YouTube of the little poor prairie dogs getting shot from 2 miles away or a mile away or something, and it flips them up in the air and there's nothing left of them? This is what they're shooting them with. This is what's called a ballistic tip bullet. Okay? So it has a really big hole in it, but it has a little plastic tip that makes it fly straight. Okay? So this thing will fly straight until it hits you, and that little plastic tip disintegrates, and it's got about a 1/16 of an inch hole, and this thing will shred as it goes in. It'll open up. I've shot pigs with this, and it like filleted their leg off, you know, in the butt. So
That's the bacon we ate.
so, our military doesn't use these. And there's also a downside to these. These things, if you hit a leaf with them as you're shooting the target, the bullet disintegrates.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as it hits something.
What's the price difference on the rounds, say a round of that compared to just a normal hollow point?
These are about probably 35 cents a round, and these are going to be closer to like $1 a round.
Yeah.
You know, as they go up.
I thought they were like expensive just for a box.
That is
Well, it's $20 for a box.
Oh,
And that's
And
pretty
that box didn't last long when the thing's sitting on the ground and you just pull it.
Yeah.
You go to a gun range.
Yeah, you go to a range, that's how you find out how expensive it is to shoot a gun.
Right. So, and this is Russian ammo.
Oh,
Right.
whoa.
Hey, Nick.
Yeah.
So, if you think about all this ammo and you think about how we live our lives, each one of these ammos has a different purpose. Okay, and same thing when we're in our relationships with other men or women, we have certain tools that we can use to achieve certain purposes and certain things. You know, the way we talk to people, the way we respond can be a bullet to somebody. And there's ways of dealing with people that you can deal with them, even though it may always hurt when you're confronting somebody about sin. Rarely ever are you going to get a positive answer from those people, you know. But you can use different bullets to achieve different things. But you have to be right in your own life, you know. You have to be kind of going
Plastic tip.
on your life. Now this is not a 223. This is an AK-47 round. Okay. But this is what's called corrosive ammo. All right. So you can shoot this ammo. It works. It gets immediate results. But the more you shoot it through your gun, the more it's going to pit up the inside of your barrel, and eventually your barrel's going to be useless. It's real cheap. The gunpowder's very cheap, and so it works, but it has a lot of side effects. And I kind of equate these to, you know, if you've got stuff going on in your own life that's corrosive, you know, then it's hard to bring proof to other people. You know, like pornography or something like that. It's going to ruin your relationships around you. It's going to fester inside of you. And while the immediate result may be good, you may accomplish something. While that's going on, it's slowly destroying you from the inside. I've had problems with porn in the past, and I decided to take care of it and put a lock on all my computers and stuff like that, because I didn't want it to affect future relationships. And I know that it did. I can look back at some of the relationships that I had with women and say, wow, it definitely influenced how I treated that person and what I felt about her, and how I even treated my friends, you know? And so that would be a corrosive ammo in my life. And You never want to shoot that. I don't shoot this stuff through any of my guns, you know, for that specific purpose. Is you constantly, like, as soon as you shoot this, like, you got to clean your gun, like, right away, you know, or it starts eating up the barrel. So you want to make sure that when you're dealing with people, you deal with them from a point of truth and honesty and something biblical. One of my favorite verses is, as iron sharpens iron, so does one man sharpen another. And I've thought about that verse a lot because it's hard. I mean, it really is hard to call somebody out or to just share truth with them, because initially very rarely they're going to take it right. And I've always thought about that verse and said, man, well, how does that, you know, the Bible tells us to do it. It says that it's possible, and it says that it should be done. And it's both ways. You have to be receptive to it, and you have to be willing to do it for other people as well, because that's how I stay pure. Is I have my friends, I say, hey man, if you see me sliding, I would expect you to call me out. You know, I would expect you to call and say, hey man, I found some porn on your computer, or you look, you know, what's going on? How are you doing? You know, or hey man, you shouldn't talk to your wife that way. I have like 3 people that will stop me and say, hey man, you need to be softer with your wife. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're right. Because that's how we work together as a body and as a group of Christians. If you don't have that accountability, then it doesn't work. And it's hard. Like, you can't go call somebody out that's your buddy in college that's not a Christian. You know, it's very hard to call somebody out like that because they're not receptive of it. And the other verse in the Bible, it says, wounds from a friend can be trusted. And so think about it. If I'm your friend and I'm willing to hurt your feelings to bring up something that you need to be corrected on, number one, I'm willing to sacrifice my feelings as well, because you're not going to, most of the time you're not going to receive it well. You know, people just, they need time to receive it, stuff like that. And so going into it, I know, man, if I bring this up, he may not be my friend for a while. You know, and that's why the Bible says that. Wounds from a friend can be trusted, because I want to let you know, hey, when your friend is hurting your feelings, when they're calling you out on something, and it hurts you inside, then that's trustworthy. You know, that's a friend that's willing to put your friendship on hold, or to put your friendship in a you know, an unsure place to call you out on something, you know, and that's a true friend. You know, there's a lot of people, they won't say anything to you. I don't want those type of friends, you know, because I want the type of friend that's going to say, okay, yeah, this is going to strain our friendship, and I need to bring this up with you, you know. Which brings me to my knife sharpening. So, as iron sharpens iron, one man sharpens another. Does anybody know what the most important thing is with sharpening a knife?
Don't cut yourself.
Don't get punched out by your buddy. Don't cut yourself. Yeah, there's some guards. There's 2 little guards here that protect that. Why? What makes a knife sharp? Shaving makes a knife sharp?
The direction you it's the direction you
Just like
you slide. I don't know, it's some certain type of direction.
Sharpening at an angle.
Put your hand out, Ben. Close your eyes. Did that cut him?
No, it was
No.
the back.
Why? It's
I
back.
did that to my girlfriend once and she got upset.
Yeah, she did.
yeah, she did.
Hey, my grandpa did that. My grandpa used to thump. He'd thump you with the knife like that on the back of the knife because it hurts. And he thumped me one time by accident with the front of the knife and sliced my wrist. He was all, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I just meant to whack you with the back of the knife." I'm like, all I was doing was thumping the catfish head. But it was bothering him. What's the difference between this side and this side?
One's sharp, one's kind of just
One's dull.
What makes it sharp?
And it's thinner.
serrated
Edge.
edge. Or
Not an
serrated
edge.
edge.
What makes an edge?
When two pieces.
Friction.
Conflict.
Yeah.
You know,
Jesus.
It's all about the angle. What makes an edge is the angle. The angle that you file this knife down is what makes it sharp. 40 degrees. Almost all knives are sharpened at 40 degrees. Okay? So if you have 90 degrees, that's straight up. From horizontal to straight up, 40 degrees is about right in the middle. Right there. So this knife sharpener is adjusted for 40 degrees. So when I want to sharpen up my knife, I just drag it across there, just like that. But the most important thing is, when you're sharpening a knife, is what angle you're sharpening it at. Okay? So, if I want to go to a friend of mine, and I want to bring truth to him, and iron sharpens iron, what is the most important thing? The angle you approach. The angle that I approach you. Okay? If I take this knife, and that's 40 degrees, and I decide to go flat like this, is that going to sharpen that knife? No. Is it doing anything at all? No. It's flat on it. So if I go to my buddy or if I go to my friend, and I'm like, hey man, you know, I kind of saw you doing this, and it's not really a big deal, and you know, I just kind of wanted to bring it up, you know. No worries though, man. You know, no, you know, it's okay if you want to do that. You know, I just thought it was a little wrong. You know, I just want. You didn't do anything. You know, did you come in too soft? Now, what if I go to my buddy, and instead of coming in at the right angle, what if I take this knife and I just drag it across the edge of there like that?
That's
You know?
devastating.
That's devastating. You're right. It's going to take my nice sharp blade and make it a big flat spot right there. It's going to dull that thing. So what if I come to my buddy and I go, hey man, I saw you looking at porn yesterday. Dude, you're a sinner. You're a bastard, man. I can't believe you're doing that. And you just cuss him out and tell him how unchristian he is and how good you are and everything, and you're all harsh about it. Are you going to sharpen him?
No.
No, you're not going to sharpen him.
Just gonna get him angry.
You're just going to get him angry. You're going to get him dull. You end up with a dull fist in your face, man. But if you come in at just the right angle, you're going to sharpen that other guy. You know, you come into him, and for me, the right angle in my life is always one thing, and that's the Bible. No matter what I do or what I talk to people about, it's not my opinion, and it's not what I think, it's what the Bible says. So, when I approach somebody and I want to talk to them about what they're doing, first of all, I think about what angle have I approached it at, you know, and usually have been in the same boat as they have done the same thing that they have been a part of that at some point in my life. So I just look at it and say, hey man, I did this too, man. I got no right to judge you. I just want to bring you a Bible verse, and I want to share it with you, you know. And you share that with them. And you know, yeah, the Spirit's going to convict them. If they're really a Christian, then the Bible's going to convict them. Because the Bible says that the word is sharper than any double-edged sword. Okay? So as sharp as you can get, you know, it's going to cut to their core, and they're going to really think about that. But you gotta bring them the Bible. You gotta have a good verse. You know, it's easy, man. The internet's awesome. You know, go in there and talk about encouragement or something ever like that, and give them a turd sandwich. That's the best thing
I don't
too.
know.
is give them a turd sandwich. You don't know what turd sandwich is?
It's delicious.
You want to try one?
We can make you one.
I'm gonna give you a turd sandwich right now. Okay. Hey man, I've noticed you've been doing really good lately, and you know you've seems like you're doing really good in school, and I just want to lift you up, man. I hope you're encouraged by that. But I want to bring this up. You know, I see the way you treat one of your friends or this guy over here, and I don't think that's right, man. And here's a Bible verse. I think that applies to that. I've been guilty of it too, but I want to share that with you. You know, and you go okay, and you say, hey man, but I'm glad you're my friend, and I appreciate you being friends. Give him a turd sandwich. Give him some bread. Give him a turd in the middle, and give him some more bread.
That makes sense now.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll try to remember the bread part.
Yeah. The bread's the good part. You know? And you can deal with that employees.
Show how you can relate to it.
Yeah, so always give them I'd use another word for it, but turd sandwich is good. But it works. It really does work because you tell them you love them. Hey man, I love you. You know, give them some bread. Let them know that you're coming from a point that out of love and respect for them. Then bring them the right angle, and then encourage them again. Hey man, you can get past this, And like I said, the internet's great, man. You can go on there and type in whatever somebody's struggling with. Just say da 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 Bible verse, and it'll bring up 5 Bible verses about that one topic. Being rude, whatever, and so that's really, that's what that verse means to me. And I could write a whole book on it, on just the way to deal with people. I'm right with you guys most of the time. Like, if I could heed my own instruction, I think I'd be so much better at it. I try to, but sometimes emotions get better of us. And so that's how you do it. You come in at the right angle. And hey, your dating relationships, my marriage relationships, gosh, it's even more.
Amen.
You're talking about, like, I got a big butcher knife right here, but my wife is like a fencing blade, a foil. She is like, man, you can't. The metal's so thin there. You drag it across there one time, and that knife is dull. you can forget about it. You really, in dealing with a girlfriend or wife, you got to come right in perfect and real nice, and and use this one right here, the white one. This is a real soft stone. It's not as harsh as the other one. And it's for fine tuning. And that's really, when you're dealing with your wife, the Bible says that they are the weaker vessel, and there's verses that talk about, as a man, you're like a clay pot, big thick clay pot, strong. You can drop it, make it a few cracks in it, but it's still good. But the women we deal with, they're like fine china. You freaking bump that thing, and the little handle falls off.
And you'll hear about it.
Yeah, and you'll hear about it. Absolutely. So that's important, because as men in this world, we get bombarded with how the world treats women. And we in the West say that we're so much more, better than the guys in the Middle East, because they treat their woman like garbage, and and they can't walk around the streets covering their face. But we send our women into pornography and into places like that, and we, objectify our women and constantly put pictures on magazines of them with no clothes on and stuff like that. And we do the same thing. We just call it freedom, free speech.
Amen.
But we're doing the same thing. We're hurting women in that area, and it's like, and it's hard, man. Gosh, I can't even go on Fox News without there being 5 or 6 stories of Kim Kardashian taking a topless picture with her friend, and I'm like, and that's a conservative news source. So I don't go on Fox News much anymore. I've actually go on CNS News now, which is conservative news service, you know, just because the world doesn't care, you know, and that's what it's all about. So you've got to separate yourself out and you got to learn that thing. So anybody got any questions?
How's it going?
How's the gun work?
You pull the trigger.
Point
First you
shoot,
aim.
they always say.
I wanted to get into
You
that
aim second.